Hello, welcome back to the Daily Solve. Today I thought I would take a look at a new puzzle site you may have seen. You may have seen people discussing it. You may have tried it yourself. It's called Puzzmo. It's by Orta Thoreau and Zach Gage. Zach Gage is known for a number of word puzzles that have been mainly released for mobile devices, like Typeshift and Spell Tower, and something called Really Bad Chess. And as you can see, all of these games are present here in Puzzmo. It's a new puzzle site that I think is particularly appropriate to a daily solve video, because this site is essentially a series of daily solves. It's each of these puzzles is published every day on this site. So there's a new instance of each one every day. There are leaderboards, so you compete against the global community of people who are also playing Puzzmo, and you can add friends and do those sorts of things that you would expect on many modern sites. So it's certainly a very interesting and surprisingly ambitious addition to online puzzle solving. I thought I would check it out. And if you'd like an invitation to join Puzzmo, I think it's still in a kind of limited release. I'm sure there are various places to acquire one, but the one that I know is the Daily Solve Discord server. So if you go down to the description field link, there is a link to the official Daily Solve Discord chat server. And I've just noticed that people have been occasionally posting their own invite links in the other Crosswords channel over there. So that's not an official source of invitations to Puzzmo, but it seems to happen, and I posted my own link in there the other day. So anyway, that might be a place to find an instant invitation. Otherwise, I think you have to wait through some process. Anyway, I thought I'd take a look at this. I tried to do so earlier, which is why the crossword is partially filled out. And then an onslaught of construction noises next door prompted me to pause. So I thought I would try again later, and that is now. So let's jump back into it. There are a series of games. The simplest is the crossword. A crossword is exactly what you'd expect. It's a crossword puzzle. There's one published here every day. There are also a series of games that essentially require you to spell words, such as Typeshift and Spell Tower and Wordbind. These are pretty self-explanatory. Once I get into them, you'll see, if you don't already know these games, you can figure out how they work very easily. Essentially, you're using the provided letters to spell words. That's the idea. Really Bad Chess is probably the strangest game on here, and it's certainly the one at which I am by far the least confident and skilled. It's chess, the standard rules of chess, but not the standard arrangement of pieces. So each day, there is a different selection of pieces assigned to black and white. You, as the player, play as white against an AI black side opponent. And every player on a given day is given that same allotment. So it may be randomly generated, I don't know, but it's only generated once per day. Everybody's playing with the same strange setup. So here you can see, as white, you have access to 3 queens, 3 rooks, 3 bishops, 3 knights. It's very strange. And I'm not any kind of chess expert to begin with, so this I just find completely befuddling. But I'll play a bit of it so you can see how it works. So I'll just jump into some games, and we can play a bit of them, and you can get an idea of what Puzzmo is all about. So I'll go back into the crossword. As you can see, it's mostly filled because I was trying to play earlier, but the sound became overwhelming. And as soon as I've said that, I can hear some hammering starting. I hope it's not. Hope I don't need to redo this a third time, but let's jump into the crossword and see how it goes. See if I can finish it off. So it's a standard crossword. Sounds of hesitation could be ums, ers, ahs. Let's look at the crosses here. Candy bars similar to almond joys. Right, so mounds is like almond joys without almonds, I guess. And then sounds of hesitation with that U, well, it still could be ums or ahs. So let's put an S here and look at this down. To hold in high regard would be to admire somebody or something. And meteorologic word that means dark cloud in Latin. Nimbus, like the cloud. Right, okay, that's interesting. Is that it? Or I don't know if that's right. That doesn't seem like that's what a nimbus would be. Let's keep going. Sublimating material in a classroom science demonstration must be dry ice. And a purplish-brown hue would be puce, I would think. Spidey blank something's wrong superpower, right? So the Spidey sense associated with Spider-Man. And arm day muscles for short. Bis for biceps, I guess. Maybe, oh, is this Nimbus? What is this one? Sing Unburied Sing, author Ward. Oh, Jesmond Ward. So I guess that is Nimbus. All right. Well, let's go back to here. Brunch drink that may be bottomless. A bottomless mimosa, certainly associated with brunch. And a coat that's brushed regularly. Ermine? No, I don't know why that would be the case. Not sure. Said I'll be there, perhaps. RSVP'd. So got your reservation into a party or whatever. An event. 2011 NBA champ for short. Well, this wouldn't be something I would have known offhand, but probably Mav for the Dallas Mavericks, I'm guessing, based on the film. And to play energetically would be to romp, maybe? So what was this again? Oh, coat that's brushed regularly. Enamel. So enamel coating on teeth. There we go. Here we have makes sense, I see, straightforward enough. And finally, bald cap, part of a Blue Man Group costume. That sounds right. And to tease someone is to rib them. So that was the correct solution to the puzzle. So we get that very pleasing yellow cascade throughout the grid. And that's that. And what's nice is that every day you get a note from the constructor, which I think is nice, and a note from the editor as well. And then you can also scroll down and see your rankings relative to the overall body of players. So in this case, it looks like I was in the 80th percentile of players on score and also the 80th percentile on time, which means my performance was better than 80% of the overall bodies of player. It makes sense that they'd be the same because I think the only thing that would distinguish score from time would have been if I used hints. Oh, I didn't think to do that. So one thing that is nice about these puzzles is that they each have hints associated with them, which I don't typically use, but I should have remembered to demonstrate. So to go back and forth about an issue, let's see if we can still get a hint on that. We can, and the hint is engage in bickering would be to argue. So there we go, yeah. Wee oo noise, hint, emergency vehicle sound is a siren. Yeah, so each one of these has a hint. And it looks like you can even reveal a letter if you're particularly stuck. So there's a whole gradient of hints you could have here. So it might be a good way to improve your crossword solving skills. Anyway, that's the crossword. It's like I say, it's the most straightforward game on here. It's exactly what a crossword is, but with those extra hints, which is nice. So let's move on to Typeshift. It's the next one, and we'll see how it works. This is a game in which you spell words. So what you want to do is you rotate. It's sort of like the rings of a lock of a padlock. And what you do is you rotate or you scroll each of these columns. And what we're trying to do is turn each letter in this whole grid dark. So we want to have used all of the letters. So here we've spelled cloud, and those letters now have been determined to be done. So let's see if I can do this in real time, or if I'm going to be paralyzed by. Oh yeah, here we go. So stray, we've gotten 5 more letters marked off there. Let's see, triad. Yeah, there we go. 3 more letters marked off. Urged would be a way to use that U, and then we're gonna have to use this B somehow. What do I think that's gonna be? Let's see, tribe we could do. There we go. And then that we've solved the puzzle now. So now that we've used all the letters, I got smack dab in the middle, 50th percentile, so right in the middle. I think this one's a combination. I'm not exactly sure how the scoring on this works. I think it's a combination of how quickly you did it and how many words you found within that. But one thing to bear in mind about Typeshift is that as soon as you've used all the letters, the game ends. You can't keep finding more words after that. So there may be some sort of strategy here in terms of intentionally trying to solve quickly, but also slightly delaying completing it to squeeze some extra words in there. I'm not exactly sure what the formula is. I haven't really bothered to try to kind of, maximize my scores or anything like that. But here we do see actually, right, interesting. So I did slightly better on time than score. So I was in the 55th percentile on time, but only the 50th in score. So there we go. They are slightly distinct. Anyway, I'll come back to really bad chess because that one is bonkers. But let's try word bind. Each day has a bonus puzzle. We've already solved the type shift, so I won't do that bonus in this puzzle in this video. It's you've already seen how it works. But let's do the word bind. I kind of like this one. I think this is very fun. So what goes on here is that we're given a long word. It's usually a fairly unusual word because it's very long, antigenetically. And what we're trying to do now is spell words from within this, but we can only use the letters in the order that they already are shown in this word. So it's not an anagram where you can simply use the letters in any order you like. They have to follow the same order. So, for instance, antigen. Antigen is probably the easiest thing to notice there because it's simply the beginning of the word. And there it is. We've spelled it. It shows up in the 7-letter slot there. Is antigenic, is that a word? I don't actually know. It turns out it is. Okay, so there we go. And I don't entirely understand how these sort of bonus things work here. I think what's gone on is that I found a 9-letter word, but that 9-letter word wasn't in the sort of pre-selected solution set. So I think the way this works is that in order to solve it, we're looking for a number of words that match the letter counts here. So an 8-letter word, a 7-letter word, a 6, a whatever that one was, 6 or 5, I guess, and then 2 more 5s. But if you find a word that doesn't fit in an empty slot, you sort of get a bonus for it. So anyway, let's see. What can we do here? Genial? Oh, no. Yes, we can spell genial. In fact, we could also spell genially. So oops, I put an extra L in there. So genially, and that was our 8-letter. We'll spell genial as well. That was our 6th letter. So what can we do? Is there another anti-word we can use? I don't know. I don't know. I feel very under a lot of pressure doing this on a video. What else can we spell? When I'm doing this on my own, to be totally honest with you, I do a lot of just sort of trying wacky collections. Oh, angel we could spell. There we go. All right. Oh, we could spell tally. Oops. Oh, I didn't realize sorry, that wasn't even what I meant to spell, but that was correct. Now, unlike the previous puzzle, so this one, you will sort of complete the puzzle once you find the specified number of words, but you actually can keep going, unlike the other one, which cuts off. So here we can keep putting words in, and your score will continue to increase. So you'll get 1 score for your time, and then another score for however many words you end up finding. And in that case, as I say, you can keep going, which I've done. So there we have tally as an extra. And I'm not going to sit here and try and max it out because you get the idea. But there we go. I've demonstrated at least what you can do by finding extra words there, and that will keep raising your score. So let's go back to the home page. And what else? Oh, we can solve flip art. This is a quick one. This is just essentially what we're doing is we're rotating these various little shapes around the grid, these sort of Tetris-like shapes. And what we're trying to do is fill all of the spaces in the grid without overlap. I find it difficult to sort of tell exactly what each of the shapes is without rotating it around in a kind of trial and error way. So again, there we go. I've succeeded. So you get the idea. It's very straightforward. And I did all right. 65th percentile and 85th percentile by rotations. Right. So this one is graded in terms of score, which I guess is a combination of time and rotations, but then it's also graded in terms of straight time and straight number of rotations, times you had to rotate all the tiles in total. So that's that. Very simple. What else? Oh, Spell Tower. Yes, this is, as I say, one of Zach Gage's existing games that was published on its own. I'm not going to go through this whole thing because you'll get the idea after a few entries, but But the idea basically, it'll come together very quickly, is you draw lines, both orthogonal and diagonal lines through the grid to connect words. Things like the stars and the highlighted letters perform sort of bonus actions or give you extra points, things like that. And when you confirm a word you've spelled, you delete the cells Tetris style. And the idea is to erase as much of the tower as you can. I very rarely end up erasing the entire tower. It's very difficult because you're often left with a sort of handful of consonants that don't work together and not enough vowels. But I have done it a couple of times, and it's very satisfying when you're able to do it. But that's the idea. Like I say, you get it. It's easy to see how it works just to look at, but of course more difficult to perform very well. And I'm not any kind of master at this, that's for sure. But it's fun. And let's see. Oops. What could we do? Shrines, maybe. Or Shriner, that's more interesting. Oh no, Shriner's not in here. Okay, fair enough. So maybe shrines then. And this was maybe not the smartest way to go, because now I've built myself this kind of little isolated area up here that's going to be a bit harder to clean out. So if I were to keep doing this on my own, what I would do is I would probably try and lower these flanks of the puzzle to try and not have such isolated little towers up here, which are obviously harder to use because you have fewer connections to make. But anyway, that's the idea with Spell Tower. I won't go through the whole thing. It would take a little time there. And finally, I think is Really Bad Chess the only remaining puzzle? I think it is. So let's check it out. This I just find so difficult. I'm not going to try and do anything amazing here because I don't have a handle on really how to play this with any degree of confidence. So I'll just play for a bit without thinking hard about it, and you can see how it works. It's a chess game, but with a very strange set of starting conditions. That's for sure. So what can we do here? Well, obviously now I've opened up this knight to capture by the opponent's knight. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I can protect my knight. I'm sure. I mean, I'm not taking this very seriously, as you can see, but we'll just see what happens as I play along. And I'll recapture that knight, and I'm sure I've done some terrible thing as a result. Well, now my bishop is subject to attack by this knight. I don't know. I have absolutely no sense of how one should think about strategy in this game, as someone who, like I said, I'm no chess expert to begin with. But it's a wacky thing, and I'm sure there are people for whom this is extremely fun. I find it more of a novelty than something I'm necessarily interested. I often don't play this one on a given day because I find it so odd compared to the others. But there we go. It's here, and I'm sure there are people who really enjoy it. So there we have it. That's Really Bad Chess, and that, I think, is Puzzmo. The other thing I suppose to mention is that there is a Daily Solve community on here. Was created by somebody in the Daily Solve Discord chat server. So there's an invite link to the Daily Solve group in there, and I've joined it. And I don't. It's got scores, sort of total. I think a total daily score from people who are members of the group. So I'm not. It feels like an early feature still. I'm not sure the groups are an incredibly rich part of the site, but you can join it, and I've joined this one, and there we have it. But that is Puzzmo. I've been playing it most days, I think. I don't necessarily exhaustively play every puzzle every day, but it's a really nice thing that is fresh day to day, has a variety of puzzles that have a fairly different vibe to them. Even though most of them are word puzzles, they are pretty different from game to game. And it's got some nice community features that I assume will be built up over the coming months. And there you have it. Like I say, there are invites that occasionally pop up from people on the Daily Solve Discord chat server. Other than that, I'm sure there are other places to find them. And I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at this new website. There you have it. All right. Back soon with more videos. Bye for now.